Hello, hello. Hello to everyone who's waiting. We'll get started in about 38 seconds, 36 now. I'm just going to do my normal checks before we start this lesson about talking about other people. It should be an interesting lesson. I hope that all of you enjoy it. Sounds like the audio is working well. All of the green lights that are supposed to be on are on right now. So we'll get started in about 11 seconds, 10 seconds now. As I wait, I'll just mention that it's a snow day for me again, but it's actually a bright sunny day outside, so interesting. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson where I'm going to talk about how to talk about other people, or more specifically, I'm going to talk about the types of ways you can talk about other people. I think you'll get a good understanding as we get into the lesson. There are obviously a lot of ways to have a conversation where you talk about a different person. And there are many, many different types of conversations like that. It might sound like a random topic. It might sound like a very specific topic, but all of the 35 or so words, actually, let me see here, maybe 30 words, are very, very common in English. You'll hear these words on the news. You'll hear these words in conversations. So in a few minutes, we'll get started on this lesson on how to talk about other people, or describing talking about other people. You'll see when I get the lesson started. Before we get started, though, I do want to say hi to a few people. Hi to Todd, who's here to moderate the chat. Dave will be along shortly, if not already in the chat. I do want to say hi to, let me see here, let me scroll back to Agnes is here. I know Lolly Lolly, MNID, Wanda Prado, Eugene is here, Freddie Wolf, Key Park, Speak English with this guy, Brent is here. He's like a traveling guru right now, I think. Every time I see a new video from him, he's somewhere else teaching English. You should check out his channel. Audie the Thai is here. Eugene, I mentioned. Ricardo is here. I'm just saying names twice. Hi, Linda, as well. And let me scroll back. I know Sita is here as well. But I think we should get started. I think we should first let me mention, if you have a question, there is a link in the description below, and Nightbot will be sharing the link in the chat, as will Todd and Dave. See Dave down there now. Hi, Dave. And please keep the conversation in chat in English. Try to have a nice conversation with the people around you. Maybe comment on the words and phrases that I'm teaching as we go along. And I should just say hi to Kaiseta, who has just joined as well. So let's get started. To gossip. So when you gossip about someone else, it means you talk about them and you say things about them that might be true and might not be true. Gossip as a noun is considered not a very polite thing. When you gossip with someone, notice I can say those two people are gossiping, or that person was just spreading gossip. I can use it as a verb and then as a noun. But gossip is when you just simply say, did you hear about Joe? Joe lost his job. Joe was, and it makes sense, because like I totally don't think he's a good worker. So when you gossip about someone, you talk about something that's happened in their life, not with them. So if we're talking about gossip, Joe is over here, and then I'm over here with another person talking about Joe, saying things like, oh, Joe, I'm not surprised Joe lost this job, because last time I worked with Joe, he just sat around all the time. That would be saying mean things about someone or gossiping. And sometimes people just tell secrets. They'll trust someone. So if I was to tell Brent, Speak English with this guy, if I was to tell Brent a secret via email, and then if Brent was to tell everyone in the chat the secret, Brent would be telling a secret. When you tell a secret, or when you reveal a secret of someone, it's not a very nice thing to do. I know a long time ago, I told a friend a secret and I said, keep this secret. And then that friend later went and told the secret to other people. That was not very, very nice. You can talk behind someone's back. This is similar to gossip, but it's a little meaner, I think. When you talk behind someone's back, it means that they cannot hear the conversation. It means that you're saying something to another person, and the person you're talking about can't hear you. That sounded very complicated. If you look at this picture, you can see that there are some people in the hallway having a conversation. And I'm imagining they're talking about someone in the room, and that person in the room can't hear them. So we would say that they are talking behind that person's back, talking behind their back. The opposite, of course, would be to say something to someone's face. Sometimes you're annoyed with someone, and so you tell a friend that you're annoyed with them. But sometimes you're so annoyed, you just tell them to their face. You go right up to them and you say, Joe, you're not a good worker, or Joe, I don't like working with you. That would be saying something to someone's face or telling them to their face. There's a few variations on that phrase. So technically, this doesn't belong in this lesson because it's not a way to talk about other people. It's a way to tell someone directly something that you don't like about what they're doing or what they have said. And then, of course, there's just to lie. When you lie about someone, you say something that isn't true. This is probably the meanest and most basic form of talking about another person. If you say, let's say Joe is a good worker, and you work with Joe, and you tell someone that Joe isn't a good worker, you are telling a lie. Not a very kind or polite thing to do. Lying about someone else or making up something about someone, that's another way to say it, is just not kind. That's why this megaphone says untruths. So as he speaks into the megaphone, lies are coming out the other end. To spread rumors. So here's an interesting one because it's similar to talking behind someone's back. It's similar in a way to gossiping. But when you spread rumors, sometimes you say something about someone and you exaggerate the truth, or you tell lies when you spread rumors. So let's say Joe's the example for all of these today. Let's say Joe got home from work really, really late. You could say, oh, I think Joe was like doing something he wasn't supposed to do. Joe was home late for work. So there's a little bit of truth there that Joe was home late for work, but then you might add a lie to it. So you might tell someone else something about Joe that's true and add a bit of a lie. But when you spread rumors, they're very negative. You're spreading negative things about someone, and it's not a very kind thing to do. To criticize. So when you criticize someone, you can criticize someone in a conversation. Like I could talk to someone and be critical and criticize them, but I could also be critical of someone when I'm talking about them with a different person. So I could say to a colleague at work, you know, I just don't like the way the boss ran that meeting. I don't like that the meeting started late. There was no agenda for the meeting. So I am criticizing my boss as I talk to a colleague. So again, when you criticize, it's a way to, it's a way to complain. But I'm going to talk about complain later. But it's a negative conversation about another person. And then again, you can criticize someone to their face. Okay, you can do that as well. To throw shade. So this is a relatively new term, and this is something that mostly we hear about celebrities doing. Sometimes a celebrity will say something about another celebrity, and it's a very negative thing, and we now call that throwing shade. I don't want to get into the details, but right now Kanye and Pete. Kanye's throwing some shade at Pete, on Pete. I actually don't know which you would say, but Kanye's definitely throwing shade right now. If you check the news, there's a little bit of a Twitter war or an Instagram war between Kanye and his ex-wife and Pete Davidson. So I'll let you find the details. But to throw shade means it doesn't have to be a celebrity, but we mostly hear this term when you watch the news about celebrities, where a celebrity will throw shade on another celebrity. So they'll say something negative or mean or even untrue about a celebrity that they know. To whisper. So you can whisper about someone. Usually we hear this term in a negative sense, like there were whispers about this person doing something. And basically it means that, I guess it's similar to talking behind someone's back, but when you whisper about someone, you're basically like, did you hear about Joe? Joe got home from work late because he went and I'm trying to think of something negative that Joe did. What would be, oh yeah, Joe went to the casino after work and spent all his money. So if you hear two people talking quietly about someone else, we would say that they are whispering about them. And to tell half-truths, I mentioned this in the lesson I did on secrets and lies. A half-truth is when you tell something that's partly true, but maybe you enhance it a little bit. So maybe Joe stole some money at work. And if you tell a half-truth, you would say, Joe, he's been stealing money for a long time. So he stole money, but you're kind of exaggerating the story. You don't know if he stole money for a long time, but you add a little bit to the story. Well, finally, here's a phrase that's not negative. I wanted to make sure I had a balance of phrases. So we're going to talk about the phrase to speak highly of. When you speak highly of someone, it means that you like them and you appreciate what they're doing. A great example would be this. Speak English with this guy. His name is Brent, has a YouTube channel, and I speak very highly of him when I mention his channel to other people because I think he's doing good work. When you speak highly of someone, it means you say very nice things and very kind things about them. So it's always nice if you know someone who's a hard worker at work, and then when you're having a conversation and their name comes up, then you say nice things about them. We would say that you are speaking highly of them. Hey, let's do a few questions here. Let me get the questions up on the screen. And let me see here. I'm forgetting what I need to do next. I need to click over here. We have a few questions in the queue. Ruslan has the first one. Hi, dear teacher Bob. Let's talk about my favorite teacher. He's an intelligent, generous, and kind person, and he recently got a new haircut. Best wishes, sir. Thanks, Ruslan. Yes, I did get a haircut. I think I've told this joke before. Sometimes people say, did you get a haircut? And you might respond in a joking way and say, I got all my hairs cut. That's like a dad joke. It's kind of a silly joke. I like that joke, by the way. Let me get the next question up on the screen. Let's see you. Azam, hi, the wise Bob. Have you ever felt that a student is talking about you while you're writing on the board? So let me read that again. Have you ever felt that a student is talking about you while you're writing on the board? Yes, it's always strange when, as a teacher, when you turn your back to the class and write on the board, sometimes you can hear students whispering. So to go back to the term whisper, and sometimes I wonder, are they whispering about me? What are they talking about back there? Let's see here. Let's see. I'm not sure, but I'll put this on the screen, but I don't understand the last part of it. Ricardo says, Bob, in Brazil, there are some people who specialize in gossip on television. They talk about everything and sometimes put ones in a tight skirt. I think we would say tight spot. So I'm not sure about that last phrase, but we definitely have TV shows that are a little bit like this. When you watch a show, like some of the entertainment shows, sometimes it's news, but sometimes it feels a little bit more like gossip. And when they say things, it would definitely put someone in a tight spot. That means it's like, oh, they told news that people weren't aware of, or news that wasn't quite true. From Sukaina, what are the differences between keep a lid on and spill the beans? Thanks, Teacher Bob. Have a good day. If I don't want you to tell a secret, I would say keep a lid on it. Okay, don't spill the beans. So I have to use the second phrase in the negative, and then they mean the same thing. If I say keep a lid on it, or if I say don't spill the beans, it means please keep this a secret. From Yaroslav, Morning, the wisest teacher, Bob. What you say about other people says way more about you than the people you talk about. Do you agree? Take good care. Yes, I definitely agree. Sometimes I am guilty of complaining about other people. I think everyone in the world has this. If you have a job and if you work with other people, if you interact with other people on any level, at some point you complain about other people. And I think you're right. What you say about other people says more about you than the people themselves. So try to be kind as much as you can. Let's see here. Quick one off topic. Hi, Teacher Bob. How is your day going? Is Anki useful for learning vocabulary? Yes. Grammar? I'm not so sure. Anki is a way to use digital flashcards. Let's see here. From Ario. Hola, Mr. Bob. Now in the West countries, people also talk about others sometimes. I don't know about it because I thought people who live in the West never talk about others. Oh no, people definitely talk about other people a lot. Especially right now during the pandemic. People talk about, he won't wear a mask, or he wears a mask, or he went to the grocery store and refused to wear his mask. People seem to be talking about other people a lot lately. It's very, very common. Sorry, I'm laughing at Vitor's poor Joe. So yes, poor Joe. By the way, I think I do have a slide where I talk about Joe in a positive way. If you're wondering who Joe is, he's the person I'm using for my examples today. I don't actually know someone named Joe. Let's see here. Kimmy and Kiwi from Korea. Hi, Bob. What is the difference between rat on and rat out? Thank you for the great lesson, as always. Well, they're pretty much the same, and I'll talk about the verb to rat in a little bit. But basically, let's say you and a friend are doing something illegal, and then you tell the cops, then you have ratted out your friend, or you've ratted on your friend. You can use both, okay? Sometimes at school, students will do things they're not supposed to, and then someone will rat them out. Someone will tell the teachers who did it. Apple the Frog says, does gossip and whisper have the same meaning or different meaning? So a whisper can be positive. A whisper can just be, sometimes when Jen and I are in a movie, I'll whisper to Jen, like, is that actor's name Joe? So when you talk quietly in a positive way, it's a whisper. But gossip is pretty much always negative. When you gossip about something, about someone, you're talking about them behind their back and saying negative things about them. Itsuki says, hi, Bob. I love your videos. Does the word rumor always have a negative connotation? And if you heard of a rumor about you, how would you react to it? Thank you. Well, if a rumor is true, and if the rumor makes the person seem better or nice, then it's okay. But generally, when you hear someone spreading rumors, generally it's a negative thing. You can spread positive rumors, I guess. Like, I can't think of one, but mostly when people spread rumors, it has a negative connotation. It is a negative thing. From Tawab, thank you, sir. You are a very good teacher. I have learned a lot from your videos, and I like the one in which you do actions of the verb to explain. Yeah, I should do another one like that sometime soon. That was a fun one. Guess who I am? And then there's an orange. I don't know who that is. Although the two people that usually play tricks are either Lolly Lolly or Mode Eggs. But I don't think Mode is in the chat right now. But anyways, do Canadians gossip a lot? Yeah, I think the same amount as other people in the world. I think Canadians tend to be similar to everyone else in the world. So I don't know the amount of gossiping that happens, but definitely Canadians do gossip. Let's see here. From Judith, hi Bob, sorry for being late. My question is too long. I'll put it in the comment section, and I sent a greeting to Brent and Mode Eggs. So shout out to Brent and Mode there from Judith. And Judith, I will look for your question later today. Let's see here. Itsuki, hi Bob, have you ever heard of a rumor about you? Yes. My very first year as a teacher, I went to a movie with my friends, and a few rows in front of me were some of my students. And then the next week at school, someone said the students heard me swearing in the theater, which wasn't true. And I don't swear very often, if at all. So yes, that was the first time I heard a rumor about me as a teacher. So let's see here. Let's get back to the lesson, and I will do some questions again in about 10 minutes. Let me see where we're at here. To speak highly of is where we finished off. It's nice if you know someone doing something well to speak highly of them. To recommend. When you recommend someone, it means that you say they'll be good for a certain thing. Let's use Joe as an example. Let's say my school needed a new teacher, and I knew that Joe was a good teacher and he didn't have a job. I could recommend Joe to my principal. I could go to the principal and say, I have a friend named Joe. He's a really good teacher and he doesn't have a job right now. So when you say that someone's good at something, or when you say that something they're doing is really good, it basically means you're recommending them. So again, we'll use, Brett's probably getting tired of me talking about his channel, but Speak English with this guy, I highly recommend you visit his channel at some point. He teaches English like I do, and he has done a few videos lately where he's in different parts of the United States. So I recommend that you watch them. So that means I like his videos, I like the work he's doing, and I like it so much I will tell other people that they should go watch them. To vouch for. So here's another way of recommending, but it really works. Yeah, it means you're saying you can trust someone. If you vouch for someone, it means you know them really, really well. Okay. So in this picture, it says Joe. Joe is a hard worker. If I worked with Joe for a long time and I knew Joe was a very good worker, and if someone said, I'm thinking of hiring Joe, is he a hard worker? I could say, yeah, I'll vouch for him. I worked with him for a long time. He's a really, really good worker. So when you vouch for someone, it means that you publicly say, or in a conversation you say, that you think that person is good at something, okay? Sometimes my students will apply for a job, and then the company will call me and say, is this student a good worker? And then I'll vouch for them. I'll say, yep, absolutely. When I had them in class, they were a hard worker. They did a great job. To trash talk. I don't know why. This picture cracks me up because it's a couple of older people. But trash talk is when you say mean things about people. Most often you'll hear trash talk, or trash talk will happen when people are playing sports. If you watch football or soccer or basketball, those are sports where sometimes the players walk by each other and they'll say something really mean about them. Like, you have a big nose. Actually, they say meaner things than that. But when you trash talk someone, you might say, yeah, where'd you learn to play football from your, I don't know. Anyways, it's when I'm not good at trash talk, by the way, but when you trash talk someone, you basically are saying mean things about them, usually in a sports game. And by the way, you can flip it as well. You can talk trash about someone, which I think is a little more general and simply means to say mean things about someone. So I picture this as this older gentleman is saying mean things about this other person. I don't know why that made me laugh, because I think older people are all really kind, and then it just made me giggle. To be a reference. So this is a more formal term, and it's similar to vouching for someone. When you act as a reference for someone, it means that legally, definitely formally, you are willing to say that person is good at something or that they're a good person. So sometimes when people apply for a job, they'll say, will you be a reference for me? And that means you're formally allowing them to put your name on their job application. And then the place they're applying for the job can call you to see if that person's a good person. So this is probably a better example for when I said sometimes I vouch for students. Probably a better example would be sometimes a student will ask if I will be a reference because they're applying for a job. And then the place they're applying at, someone will call me and say, so Joe, your student Joe, has applied for a job and they've listed you as a reference. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about Joe? And then I would say, Joe's great. Joe's a hard worker, etc., etc. To build someone up. When you build someone up, it means usually you tell them directly, but you can also tell other people good things about them. So if I was talking to Joe, I could say, Joe, you're really good at this job. Joe, I saw the work you did last week and it was awesome. Joe, you are doing a great job. So I can tell Joe directly, but I could also tell my boss. If I worked with Joe, I could go to my boss and say, you know what? I just wanted to put a good word in for Joe. He's doing great work right now. So anytime you say something that will highlight good work or actions that someone has done, you are building them up. To sabotage. When you sabotage someone's career or you sabotage someone's work, it means you destroy it by telling lies behind their back. So it's not a word we use a lot, but I did hear this in a movie. And so when you hear the phrase like, oh, he's out to sabotage her life, it means that they're going to spread rumors. They're going to tell lies about you. They're going to do everything they can to make people not like you. So that's why I put this picture of one person whispering to another, like, did you hear Joe quit his job again? Joe quit 5 jobs in the last 5 days. He can't keep a job. So they're trying to sabotage someone's reputation, to sabotage someone's career, or to sabotage their life. To rat. So we've gone over this one already. When you rat on someone, it means you tell someone in authority what they did. If 2 of my kids, let's say the cookies were gone, and I said to my kids, who ate the last cookie? And if my one kid said, he did, Joe ate it. I don't have a kid named Joe. We would say that that person has ratted out Joe. Or maybe I'm driving with one of my kids to school and I say, you know, the TV broke the other day. Do you know what happened? And if they said, oh, Joe did it, they would be ratting out Joe. So when you rat someone out, it means you tell someone in authority something that they did. To give someone up. To give someone up is very similar. When you give someone up, it means, let's say Joe and I robbed a bank and we were going to keep it a secret. And then Joe went to the police and said, Bob did it. We would say that he gave me up. When you give someone up, it basically means that you've done something illegal or you've done something wrong. And one person, again, tells someone in authority that you've done it. So to rat and to give someone up are very, very, very similar. To stab someone in the back. So this is a little bit different. This is when you betray someone, or this is when you and someone else, there's trust between 2 people. And then one of the people goes and does something or tells other people about something you've done. If you have a secret, if you and a friend had a secret and your friend told the secret to someone else, you could say that they stabbed you in the back. Okay. So it's a way of betraying someone. It's a way of breaking the trust between 2 people. And so we have to betray. I don't know my history very well, but I think Brutus betrayed Caesar. I think that's how it went. So Caesar trusted Brutus, and I think his dying words are like "et tu, Brute" or "et tu, Brute." I forget. I don't know how to say it, but when you have trust, and when one of those people does something that causes harm to the other person, or makes them feel bad, or actually something bad happens to them, we would say that you betrayed them. Never nice to betray someone. To put someone down. When you put someone down, it means, again, you're saying mean things about them. So if Joe was a really hard worker and I was talking to someone else, I could say, Joe's not a hard worker. Joe is like, he's the worst worker ever. Joe's late for work all the time. He's always leaving early. He steals stuff from work. So you're saying, you're basically saying mean things about the person that might be true and might not be true. And both could happen. And again, you can put someone down to their face as well. Like I could go up to someone and say mean things about them, and we would use the same phrase, to put someone down. To whine. So I think children do this the most. When you whine about someone, it means you complain about them for a long time. So sometimes after work, people will go to a restaurant, and as they sit around, they might whine about their boss. They might whine about a colleague that isn't there at the restaurant. So it's basically very, very similar to complain. And we often use these two words together. So sometimes people get together and they have fun, but sometimes they whine and complain about work, or they whine and complain about their boss, or they whine and complain about their coworker. So definitely these two words mean the same thing, and they often go together. And yeah, it's a lot more fun to go out with people from work and enjoy yourself. It's not fun to go out and listen to people whine and complain about everything. So anyways, this you can use to talk about a situation or people. Both will work. Hey, we're going to go into members only question mode. Give me 1 second here to get that set up. As I'm doing that, let me just mention that when I start members only mode, I know some people leave the live stream. Like the graph kind of goes down. And I always think that's a little strange because the lesson will continue even for non-members in 10 minutes. So stick around because that's what will happen next. Let me get another question up on the screen. And I will also I'll answer questions from every direction right now. Let me get my camera going again. There we go. From Zaur. Hi, Teacher Bob. What is the difference between to speak of and to speak about? Thanks. They're very similar, I think. To speak of someone sounds very formal. To speak of something. Like, could you come over? Because I would like to speak of your... speak of the fact that you park your car in my parking spot. The second one is probably way more common. Hey, I'd like to speak to you about the fact that you park your car in my parking spot. That happened to me yesterday. I don't have a parking spot, but when I go to school, I park in the same spot all the time. So I kind of think it's my parking spot, but because of all the snow piled up, we don't have as many parking spots available at school right now. So let's see here. I'm going to go and get another question. So from Laith, hi Bob, what's the difference between gossip and backbiting in English speaking? So we don't use the phrase backbiting very often anymore. Let me get the official meaning. Malicious talk about someone who is not present, backbiting. You will hear this a little bit, but it basically means, I would say it's the same thing. It's talking in a mean way about someone who isn't there. Lolly says in the chat, hello. Oh, hi, Rod. Yes. Hello, Rod, the English teacher. Rod's here. Good to see you, Rod. I hope you're nice and warm down there in Brazil. We're freezing cold up here in Canada. Guhan says, hello, Mr. Bob. What is the minimum grade for Ielts to work in Canada, UK, or Australia? I actually don't know. I should look that up. I've been meaning to learn more about English testing, and I don't actually know. Freddie Wolf, hey, Bob, no question today. I'm just going to tell a true secret all over the world. Your great lessons are always amazing. Well, thank you for spreading that good rumor about me. Merci beaucoup. Naomi T, hi, Teacher Bob. Thank you for useful lessons. Do you say speak ill of someone? Yes, I don't have that on my list, but definitely when you speak ill of someone, you are saying things about them that are not compliments. They're the opposite, for sure. Let's see here. Lolly, are there things you will not tolerate from your students? If so, what are they? I don't like excessive noise when it's quiet work time. I don't like it when students throw things. I don't like it when students are mean to each other. That bothers me a lot. I like my classroom to be a fun, safe, happy place to learn things. So anything that goes against that, and you get to sit in the hall for a bit. Ricardo, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you? It's common to Canadians to complain about politicians in your country. or they are doing a good job. Right now, it's very common for people to complain about politicians, but I think that's true around the world. I think people are getting very tired of laws related to the pandemic, not just in Canada, but almost everywhere. So right now, yes, in Canada, it's very common for people to complain about politicians. Rod saying hi to Lolly. Kaiseta, is there a phrase in Canada to have a finger in every pie? Yeah, I haven't heard that phrase for a while, but it's definitely a common phrase. It means that, you're involved in everything. So sometimes a boss in a workplace, they'll have their finger in every pie. So instead of trusting people to do their job, they're like always managing them. We also call it micromanaging. Hong Jing, hello, Teacher Bob. Hello. Lolly says, thanks, Bob. I like your answer. No problem. Betty Lou, hi, the cutest Teacher Bob. I just watched the members only video you posted a day before. I'm happy for you. That was a fun video. I was in a really good mood, and I still am. Rod says to me, just yesterday it was 42 degrees in the afternoon, sir. Yeah, that's warm. That's really warm. Guhan says, Mr. Bob, is it true that there are no uniforms for students in the US and Canada? Well, it depends on the school. So no, that's not true. There are schools where students can just wear casual clothes, jeans and a t-shirt. There are schools that have uniforms in Canada and in the United States. It's maybe not as common as other places in the world, but definitely there are schools where students have uniforms. My school, students have uniforms. Kaiseta says, thank you, dear teacher. Key Park says, if you heard your students gossiping someone, what do you do? I usually tell them to stop. Like I usually just say, hey, don't talk about people behind their backs like that. If you don't have something nice to say about someone, don't say anything at all, which is what my mom used to tell me when I was a kid. Hey, let me scan to make sure I didn't miss any here. I think I got everybody. If I missed, just ask your question again and I'll get... Fyodor, hello, Bob. When do you say the words sir and ma'am? So students sometimes call me sir, although that's not as common as it was when I started teaching. We don't use the word ma'am very often. It's kind of interesting. Like, one sec. Sorry, I just had to clear my throat. Yeah, occasionally a student will still call me sir. So it's when you're talking to someone in authority. Usually it's only used by children when talking to adults like teachers or maybe a coach or something. Back to the chat. Key Park says, thanks. Audie says, hi, Bob. Today, no question. And I would like to say sorry to the Brazilian that they got a big problem from Mudwave because our channel have a lot of members from out there. Yeah, I have not actually read the news about that. But yeah, thanks, Audie, for expressing your concerns and that. Let's get to the next question. Hello, Bobby. By the way, Bobby is, so my name is Robert. That's my official name. People call me Bob. That's the most common short form. When I was a kid, people called me Bobby. Okay, so Bobby's like if your name's Robert, sometimes when you're a kid, people will call you Bobby. Let's see here. Is there an English word for a person who stabs you in the back? Yeah, jerk. That's probably the phrase. And there's harsher words than that, but that's the one I would go with. You would say that person is a jerk or that person is being a jerk. There's two ways to say it. Marlene Kaiser says, I taught English to high school students and now I coach a 16-year-old Chinese boy in learning English. He loves your lessons. Thanks. You are very welcome. Let's see here. I'm clicking the wrong button. From Ahmed. Hi, Bob. What do you call a person who talks a lot about others during their absence? Cheers. Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, we have phrases like, he's always running off at the mouth, which means you're just talking, not just about people, but just talking a lot in general. But we would probably just say, she's always gossiping, or he's always spreading rumors, or he's always talking behind people's backs. We would probably just use a lot of the phrases that we have been using or learning. Let's see here. Guhan says, Mr. Bert looks great as a surname for Robert. Yeah, I've never been called Bert, but that is another version. Let's see. Stacy, hi, Bob. Thanks for today's lesson. If someone always puts you down, how would you manage them? Well, if it wasn't a family member, I would probably just try to steer clear of them. Basically, steer clear means just don't be around them. It's a little trickier when it's a family member. If it was like a cousin or a sibling, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, yeah, I think you just have to say how they're making you feel and then hope that that helps them change their attitude. Hey, give me a minute here to turn off members only chat. And let me just mention a couple things. First of all, thank you so much for being members. Memberships are just cool. You know what they let me do? I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of YouTubers will put ads in the middle of their videos because members have decided to support my channel. I have ads at the beginning and the end, and I do not put ads in the middle. So if you ever watch one of my lessons, especially the longer ones, after you watch the first 2 ads, you can listen to the watch or listen to the rest of the lesson without. And that's thanks to members. So thank you, members, for making that possible. They also get an extra video on Wednesdays, and their name is in green during live lessons. So a few perks. If you want to know more about memberships, there's a description below. Let's see here. To ruin someone's reputation. When you ruin someone's reputation, it means you lie about them or you reveal a secret that they didn't want revealed. You do something that makes them... This happens a lot with celebrities. So a celebrity might have done something in the past, and when someone reveals that, they might no longer be able to work. They won't get hired to make movies. This happens sometimes with teenagers where someone will make up a story or tell a lie about someone else and tell the whole school. And a person who everyone liked, now all of a sudden students don't like that person because someone ruined their reputation. Not a kind thing to do at all. To defame and to slander. So when you defame or slander someone, they pretty much mean the same thing, but they have more of a formal legal definition. So let me actually give you the definition. It's when you say something about someone publicly, but they can then take you to court if you lied. So slander, to make false and damaging statements about someone publicly. And then let's look for defame, sorry. Defame, to damage the good reputation of someone through slander or libel and to do so publicly. So again, these are more like legal definitions of saying something about someone. When you spread gossip or when you spread rumors or when you gossip about someone, there's no legal ramifications. Do you know that word? Like they can't sue you. But if a newspaper publishes something that's untrue, or if something is said publicly that's untrue, someone can say, no, that's slander, or you've defamed me, and they might take you to court. And we also have to falsely accuse. I have been guilty of falsely accusing some of my children of doing certain things. Sometimes when something happens, like let's say someone broke something in the house, you might think you know which child did it, but if you tell them, I know you did it, and they didn't, you are falsely accusing someone. This also happens in the world. Sometimes people will falsely accuse someone else. They'll tell the police that someone did something and when it's not true. So not a nice thing at all. To praise. So you can praise someone to their face. You can go to someone and say, good job, awesome work. But you can also praise someone to someone else. I could say, Rod, the Brazilian English teacher, by the way, Rod, the English teacher in the chat. Rod's a really nice guy. He does really good work as well on YouTube, and he teaches classes, English classes, and he's good at it. I'm giving Rod praise. I could do that to Rod, which I've done when I've talked to him, but I can also do it to someone else. Okay. So it's like, kind of like recommending. It's kind of like saying good things about someone. You can also sing someone's praises. Okay. So when you sing someone's praises, you say a lot of good things about them. So you might talk about them for 10 minutes, and the whole time you're talking about them, you're saying good things about them. So a very nice thing to do if you know someone who's doing something really good in the world. You might say, you know, this person donates a lot of money. This person, we should use Joe. Joe donates a lot of money. Joe volunteers to help out at a soup kitchen to feed the homeless. Joe is a great person. If I talked about Joe for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and just continually said good things, I would be singing his praises. To question someone's authority. So when you question someone's authority, it's when you talk about them and you're basically saying they shouldn't be in power anymore. So sometimes at work, people will question the boss's authority. In government, people sometimes question someone's authority. Right now, there is a protest in Ottawa, and people are questioning Justin Trudeau's authority. So when you question someone's authority, you ask questions and you talk about them in a way where you're basically saying they shouldn't be in charge anymore. Okay, this last word, please listen carefully as I explain it, okay? This is a word that's considered a bad word in English, but I'm going to talk about the verb form of it, okay? So in English, if you call someone a bitch, that is a bad word. That is not a nice thing to say. But in the verb form, it's kind of an informal slang and a crude way to talk about complaining. So when you complain a lot, sometimes people will say that you're bitching, okay? All Joe does, he just bitches about work. So again, listen carefully. This is not a word you would use at work. This is a very informal word. I said it's slang. It's more informal, but it's actually more common than you think. I actually have heard this word a few times lately. So again, when you call someone the B word, that is a bad thing. But when you use it in this way, if you're talking to a friend and you say, you know, let's stop bitching about work and let's talk about something positive. So again, I don't know if Brent's still here in the chat, but I know he has to leave and teach usually, but this is just a very crude, informal slang way to say that you're complaining about something. There, I hope that made sense. Basically what I'm saying is you'll hear this word, but maybe you shouldn't use it. But you might hear it if you're having a conversation sometime. So that's it, folks. Let me just check if there are any more questions. Let's see here. I'm going to leave it at that, I think. I think we're going to wrap this lesson up. Yeah, Dave's saying, I think Brent had to go already. Yeah, I remember him mentioning earlier that usually he heads out just before the lesson ends. So anyways, let me get to one more question, and then we will wrap this up. If you do have more questions, though, I have more time. I'm happy to answer them. Hong Jing says, hi, Teacher Bob, how to improve the listening skills. I can understand some short phrases. However, I can't catch the word meaning for a long conversation. Thanks. So listening practice can take a lot of forms. If you're just doing listening practice, I would say if it's a video, slow the video down. If it's a video, watch the video with subtitles on and then watch it again with subtitles off. If you're talking, though, about you're in a conversation and you can't understand what someone is saying, try to just ask them to speak a little slower and practice things like, oh, I didn't quite catch that. Could you repeat that phrase? You kind of have to guide the person who's talking to you to speak in a way that you understand. And then just do lots of listening. That's always the secret with listening. The more listening you do, the better you will get at it. Hey, I'm going to wrap this up, folks. As I mentioned at the beginning, or I don't know if I mentioned, it's a snow day, so I have the day off. So I'm just going to, well, I was going to say relax, but I'm going to clean the driveway, and I got a few other chores I need to do today, so I'm going to get at that. But thank you so much. By the way, if you're new here, don't forget to click that subscribe button. This video, I will remove all of the questions and create a shorter version of it. It'll come out in a couple days. Please do watch it again, even if you listen to it in the background, or I've always said while you're doing dishes, while you're driving, while you go for a walk. Maybe you're in a waiting room. Maybe you've brought a kid to the dentist and you're in a waiting room. Just listen to it one more time. And for sure, if there are parts you didn't understand, just listen to that 10-minute segment in a couple days with the subtitles on. The version that comes out in a couple days will have subtitles as well. Okay, let me say bye to everybody. Bye to Judith and Ricardo and Key Park and Dave the Canadian and Todd the Canadian and Freddie Wolf and Wanda and Hong Jing and Kaiseta and Linda and Lolly Lolly and Key Park and Kaiseta, and I'm saying names twice, and Apple the Frog and Zhang and Lee and Yaroslav and Lemon Cute and Mrs. Jackson. Mrs. Jackson said, hello, Teacher Bob. First time to watch live teaching lesson. I'm one of your followers since I watch your YouTube channel, watching from Philippines. Well, good to have you here, Mrs. Jackson. Let's see. Bye to Sita and Rod, of course. Bye, Rod. Good to see you again. Let's see here. And Agnes. Bye to Agnes. And I'm just going to go. I can't say bye to everybody. There's over 500 people. That would just be too many. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. And new video coming out Tuesday. I think you'll like it. And for sure, another live lesson next week, Friday.